Press X the podcast here. Back again. It is April the 4th today. We're back for another episode talking about video game stuff, and whatever else comes up, because sometimes it's just a tangent, and tangents are great. I'm Paul. I'm the host of this here show. Alongside me, as always, we've got Rhett, we've got James. How you doing, boys?
Doing just dandy. Doing just dandy.
Just dandy, or like dandy?
I thought about it, and I'm probably like mid-level dandy, like, where things are going great, but you're not like, dancing around the streets, shouting to the locals, being like, "You there, boy? What time is it?" Or that sort of dandy. Like I'm not that place yet, but like doing pretty good.
Okay. All right. Just as long as you're not like merely doing dandy, dandy as a way to say barely hanging on to this screaming thrill ride.
Yeah.
Good. I'll take that. I'll take that all day. How about you, Rhett? You dandy as well?
So dandy. After all these years, I just love being a guest on this show. I still just love being a guest week in and week out. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, I didn't say you were a guest. I said you're alongside as always.
Yeah. Yeah, you're if you're a guest, Rhett, then I'm a guest. Like,
Okay. Well, yeah, that's what we are.
Technically, I'm the only one who's been here from the start. So
I don't know if y'all have ever seen this web series called On Cinema at the Cinema with Tim Heidecker, but that's the running joke. After like 10 years of the show, his guest Greg Turkington, who's like the co-host of the show every time, he says, "Hi, I'm Tim Heidecker, and alongside my guest for this week, Greg Turkington," as if it's his first appearance every time. So it's just reminded me of that.
I like that.
That's wonderful. I've heard about that show, and it's like, man, I'll think to myself, you should check some of that shit out, and then I don't, because my brain is badly wired. But
James, I can't recommend it enough. It is a wild ride. Like when it begins, you will never guess where the show goes. It's crazy. And what's nice is that it's just little bite-sized 4, 5, 6-minute YouTube videos each episode are. So it's pretty easy to get into.
Well, fascinating.
Well, that's rad.
But anyways, thanks for being here today, and not every time. So special guest, Rhett. Thank you for being here to discuss whatever it is we're going to discuss. Sounds like it's probably Final Fantasy. If our pre-ramble was anything to go on.
Sports.
Love the sports.
Maybe if we have time, maybe some old school PSP games that I've been getting into.
PSP, okay. All right.
I've been dabbling.
A little light dabble. Well, let's get back into the Final Fantasy fray, because you can never have enough of that. And Rhett, you started playing Rebirth. I'm curious what you think about this bad boy so far.
Yeah, so first question, fellas, why is this game kicking my fucking ass? I'm like 5 hours in, and I've like hit a wall with just like little menial side missions where I need to go and kill like this little like blob or this wolf, and my team is getting annihilated in 15 seconds, and I can't do anything. What's going on here?
A lot of things. A lot of things are going on.
And like, I'm getting my ass kicked in ways that I didn't get my ass kicked in Remake. Remake, I remember, like, sure, towards the end I was running into some difficult fights, but not in the first 5 hours.
Rebirth is definitely harder.
Yeah. It leans a lot more heavily on the systems that are there. You can ignore less of them than you could in Remake. You could basically button mash and get your way through Remake for the most part. The combat here seems to rely pretty heavily on your ability to use the synergy actions.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
Not just the ones that are in the menu as like, here's our massive team up move, but the ones that block attacks or counter attack, which you can get to, I believe, by holding L1. Nope.
Oh yeah,
R1?
there's a whole system. Yeah, there's a whole
R1.
system where you hit one of the triggers and it brings up a second set of inputs that you can customize in the menu. And like synergy, I had a really hard time figuring out how the fuck it worked because like for the longest time, because you would just have attacks unlocked and others wouldn't be, and I couldn't figure out why. But it's because there's a whole separate bar that charges with use of every character. And like, so you have to be switching regularly between characters. You can't just let them do their own thing if you want to be using synergy attacks.
Right.
Because once both characters have that shit charged up, then they can just, then it's like another limit break, but it involves two of them and it's got flexible utility. Sometimes it does damage, and sometimes, like Paul said, you can like block or counter. Or one set of synergy attacks that every character unlocks is the ability to increase your limit level.
Yep.
And like, so that the moves you're using when you get a limit break get better and better. So that like, that's a cool thing you can do in boss fights. And like, you can't, maybe there's ways to get them auto battling reliably, but I never got it. Like, if your auto battler was like super fast and like they had skills and items that like let their ATB charge fill up really quick, then they could be good for healing. But like, holy shit, having healing and special moves and limits and everything all tied to the same charge makes it so that they are not useful for just automatically healing. Like, it's better to just have like two guys automatically using their shit kicking skills whenever they can, and then you do healing manually. Because like otherwise you're up the fucking creek.
Yeah.
I found myself getting roasted quite a bit by flying enemies.
Yeah.
Because you can't hit the enemy, you can't charge your ATB gauge, you can't really do anything about them just wrecking you. Unless you've got Barrett in your party, and then you're okay.
Yeah. I like the times where I didn't have Barrett, it was just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna use I'm gonna save up all my specials and shit and get really close to you and hopefully do enough damage to knock you down. Otherwise, I don't even know what we're fucking doing here.
What part is tripping you up there?
So I've gone past Calm, got our first Chocobo, and then I went back to Calm after that. Even though Tifa said she's like, well, it's gonna be a long time before we come back here. Even though it was like an hour later, you were able to go back. So I went back to Calm and started doing side missions there, like the one with the mayor where you had to repair the Mako pipeline. That one took me a few times to beat. And now I'm doing another one where this farmer needs me to go and kill this wolf that's fucking with his livestock at night. And this wolf specifically, it is annihilating me. Like, I can barely touch it, and it's wiping out the entire team with like 2 attacks. It's like, dude, one of the biggest walls. It's the fucking wall in Game of Thrones, it feels like, that I've come to as far as a difficulty increase. It's insane. I don't know what to do. Maybe I'm underleveled. Maybe I do, taking from what James said there, I definitely have been mostly sticking to Cloud in the fights. So I do need to be jumping between the whole party. So I'm going to start to implement that, but I don't know, man. It's pretty shocking going from Final Fantasy 16, where I think I died once in the first 50 hours, to this, where I'm getting fucking killed in the first 5.
Yeah, switching between the characters definitely makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty fun to use, except Aerith.
Yeah.
I find that's
I have enjoyed the little bit of Red 13 gameplay that I've. Yeah,
he's great.
A lot of spinning.
Yeah. A lot of spinning
going on there.
A lot of fire. Yeah, he's cool.
And if you really need to deal some damage, it's Tifa. Tifa's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. I never found her that. I never quite got the hang of her. The other characters I could mostly hack, but like, I don't know. Tifa just felt. Maybe her attack just felt more ineffectual. Like, I'm sure they did decent damage, but like the way they play it out in battle, I just found like kind of unsatisfying.
Yeah.
I don't know, but again, it's interesting that you and I had two very different experiences with that. It's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, you get one ATB charge, turn on Unbridled Strength, starts doing some serious damage. The ATB bar starts filling up a lot faster, so then you can use like Focus Strike or one of the other ones that fills up the stagger meter, and you'll be staggering fools left, right, and center.
Nice. Yeah, no, that is good. Yeah, also staggering. Jesus. Yeah. Where it's just like, oh no, if you're not doing this, then you lose. I don't know. Sorry, bud. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely recommend having the assess materia on at all times so you can scan and exploit some weak points.
Yeah, quickly learn that assess equals success.
Yeah.
Or at least until
same
I
word,
got
basically.
To the part that I'm at now. Yeah. One thing that's really left me wanting is the performance mode. Whether you're on, so there's a sharp and a soft performance mode that you can select, which the game plays at 60 frames either way. I think that they announced that the sharp performance mode was a patch, that they released that in a patch after it had come out.
Rhett, I'm going to be real with you right now. I never used performance mode at any point in my playthrough. Ever.
You should go turn it on to see just how blurry it makes the game look. It's like shocking to the point where like I've seen people on Reddit say that it actually legitimately looks like a Switch port when you turn it to performance mode. Whoa. And I have to agree. Like it's bad. It's really bad. And obviously the bigger and better your TV is, the more that issue becomes apparent. So if you're on any sort of 4K TV, you're going to see it, it's going to be crazy. I recommend you go check that out because it's actually pretty bad. And it looks a lot better in fidelity mode, but man, I can't get used to the 30 frames. I just hate it.
Yeah, that's precisely why I've never in this game switched to the 60. Yeah. Because I know my brain will not be able to forget that smoothness.
Man,
when I just turn it on expecting it to be, consistently 30.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. So now I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place with this. I don't know what to do.
Speaking of rocks, a lot of the rocks look terrible in this game.
Yeah.
There's some really horrendous looking textures.
What you were saying last time, even on fidelity mode, I really did notice what you were saying. If you're like in a hotel, for example, the characters might look good, and let's say the front desk at the hotel will look nice, but then you'll notice a book on the desk that looks like it's pulled from late PS1, early PS2 days. Yeah. There is a lot of that in there. That being said, that sort of stuff, I don't really feel like it takes away from the overall aesthetic of the game. Like, it is beautiful. Yeah. It is beautiful.
They obviously put all of their rendering budget into the characters.
Yeah.
And their accoutrement attached to each character looks really good. Mm-hmm. Don't look too closely at the details.
Yeah. But yeah, for as much as I've been getting my ass kicked, obviously you know that this is my first time with any Final Fantasy VII, so I don't know what's going to happen next. And they did a good job of hooking me with that beat where they're resting in the hotel at the inn for the first night.
Yeah.
And Tifa looks over to Aerith and she's like, "Oh, this after the Nibelheim flashback, which was also fucking great.
That
was so good. But after that, when Tifa whispers to Aerith, "I don't remember Cloud being there 5 years ago at all." And then Cloud fucking he's going to talk to Tifa that same night 5 minutes later, and he's got Bethesda. He's seeing Sephiroth, and Sephiroth's like, I killed her 5 years ago, so who is that's with you? And that dynamic right now is really fucking pushing me forward. I need to see where that goes. So it's good. It's good. I'm enjoying it.
That's good. That's what I was going to ask you, because as somebody who hasn't played the original, I wonder if it, hooks you as much as somebody who's like, I know where this story is supposed to go. Now, is it going there? And how are they getting there?
I would say the first 5 hours of Rebirth have hooked me more than the entirety of Remake did. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed I enjoyed the first part of the story, but like if I was to compare that, the Remake story to, like let's say the first half of 16, I thought 16 blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
But now, I don't know, I'm pretty invested in what's going on here.
Yeah, Remake, it definitely felt like they were limiting the scope of what they were going to put into it, because they were trying to figure out how to move it forward. And this one, they're like, okay, Remake worked. Yeah. Let's broaden, let's go wider and throw way more characters in there, especially playable characters.
Yeah.
You really rack them up over the course of the game.
Also, over the past couple episodes when y'all were talking about this game, and you were mentioning Chadley, I didn't know who you were talking about. And then I saw Chadley. I met Chadley in Rebirth, and immediately it all came flashing back to how much I hated this guy in Remake. So the fact that he's back now in Rebirth makes me want to put my head through the wall.
He's fucking 10 times worse too.
Yeah, he seems like it. But from what I can tell, he's actually pretty useful in the rewards that you get from him. So, yeah. Which from what I can recall with Remake, I never really fucked with anything that Chadley was doing, and I made it through the game, pretty much okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it seems like they made him a lot more valuable, a lot more necessary this time around.
Yeah, two things in this game that have really started to weigh on me a little bit, or that I am tired of engaging with. One, the fake sphere grid weapon upgrade system. I think it's stupid. It's very slow and cumbersome. And you just kind of unlock everything anyway. So why is it there? There's no choice. There's no decision making, really.
Yeah.
And two is just how many mini games there are. I like a good mini game, but the story is gated by mini games probably at least every hour.
Yeah. Which speaking of that, so Queen's Blood's the best part of the game.
Queen's Blood rocks.
And I'm completely fucking hooked. And it's all I want to do. Anytime I see somebody that I can go and play a game of Queen's Blood with, that's immediately what I'm doing. I really hope that, much like The Witcher 3, CD Projekt made Gwent into a standalone game from Witcher 3. I would love to get a Queen's Blood standalone game at some point. It seems like the hype, like there was a lot of hype about Gwent on the internet when The Witcher 3 came out. And it seems like there's the same amount of hype for Queen's Blood. People love it. You go to the Final Fantasy VII Reddit, there's a lot of Queen's Blood talk. So, Square, maybe take notice.
It is a well-constructed card game.
It really is.
And the game gently encourages you at so many different avenues and opportunities to get more into the card game.
Yeah.
And it's excellent when, instead of it just being like this thing in the side that like you do or do not pay attention to, they're like, no, this game rules. We want you to play it. You're going to play it. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
And they're right.
Yeah, it's easy to pick up, but I think I don't think it's like super difficult to necessarily master, but I think that there's a lot of nuance in what you can actually do that might not be on the surface when you first start playing it. Once you get into it, once you start getting some more cards, you start to see, oh, okay, there's way more strategy to it than I thought there was. But even with that being said, I appreciate how fast the games are. You know, each game of Queen's Blood shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes. And like James has been saying, the fact that you can just replay any one of them immediately without consequence, that definitely helps.
That rules.
Unlike The Witcher, where like if I lost a game, an important game, you lost that game. You know? So yeah, Queen's Blood's fucking sick. And I want to go play more of it. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Have you leveled up as a Queen's Blood player?
Yeah, I think I'm level 3. I think I'm level 3 now. Okay. If not 2, but I think I'm level 3.
Has anything weird happened?
No. Okay. The last thing I did was I went and got the rare card for the bartender.
Okay.
Went and beat the dude that sold the cards. I've got a couple nice fresh cards in the deck. But has anything weird happened? No.
You just wait.
Oh, okay.
There's a little bit of intrigue around Queen's Blood.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I know personally I'm going to be playing this probably forever. So I'm leaving no stone unturned in this playthrough. I think I'm in chapter 9.
Right.
Chapter 9.
Yeah. So basically 16 that's dead and buried for you.
I don't want it to be. I want to get to the end of it.
Yeah.
I want to get through it. But I have a hard time mainlining things. I like to do the side things, and I don't like the side things in 16.
Yeah. Honestly, I know what you mean. There's only one side quest that I would say that you want to finish before the end of the game. Maybe 2. Because right before like the final mission, a bunch of side quests open up. And there's probably 2 in there that you actually want to go and finish.
Okay.
Yeah. The rest, honestly, you could leave them and be just fine.
I will say with 16, they do have established at some point that like if it's a quest you get outside of the base, it's inherently less important.
Yeah.
Like you get story bits and like, you know, some resources, but cool, essential, useful, like game-changing shit always comes from inside the base.
Yeah.
Like that, all the quests that you get there, which was very handy to know or to figure out eventually when I was getting to the end, and it's like, well, I kind of want to finish this. I want to know which quests I can ignore and which ones I fucking have to get into. So that was super handy.
That is true, but I mean, relatively early on, they don't really do a good job of teaching you that, because one of the most important side quests, where you get your chocobo, does not start at the base.
I thought it did.
No, you need to be in the town. I can't remember the name of the town, but the one with the woman who runs the bar.
It takes you to the town, but I swear to God, you like.
Does it? You talk
to somebody in the base, and they're like, "Oh, go to this place for some reason." It's not important. It is important. It's so important. Shut up. It's so important. What are you doing?
I don't know. I feel like that one you just start it with a dude on the side of the road. I don't know. I could be wrong. But generally, you are right. Like every sort of like weapon upgrade begins with a quest that you talk to the blacksmith to begin.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
And those are pretty important.
Yeah.
I will take that under advisement for the next time I'm playing a Final Fantasy more than 7.
Good.
What else y'all been playing?
I finished my quest to complete all 6 of the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. I spent slightly longer on each successive one, I think. So by the time I finished number 6, I think I spent like 30 or 35 hours on it just because I wanted to do as much of the content as I could. Except for the like, there's this thing you can do towards the end where you're like going into the Coliseum and like betting with items to get better items. And I was just like, I don't care. You get access to the spell Ultima. None of this feels relevant at that point. You're like, you can just cast Ultima 5 times a turn and then finish any battle that way. Just like, I don't really give a shit if my weapon is slightly stronger.
That's probably the main downside to that whole game, is that Ultima is a win button.
Yeah. And admittedly, it's not super easy to get a hold of. You have to like, kind of run around the world of ruin to like get to it, and it's kind of a process. But once you do, god damn, man, that's all you need, bud. That's all you need.
Yeah, you start, having X magic and the economizer to make it all 1 MP. It's Jokesville after that.
Jokesville.
I don't think I found the economizer, but what I did do is that when you have Esper assigned to a character or equipped to a character, some of them give you level up bonuses. And so I just did a little grinding, made sure everybody had a ton of MP so that they could all cast Ultima over and over and over again. It was funny because I didn't really do any level grinding until Kefka's Tower. So like one of my party members was like level 23 when I got there.
Whoa.
And yeah, so like
low.
Yeah, so Celis had like 1,000 hit points. It was like, oh no, most attacks are killing her immediately. I have to fix this.
How did you make it through the first part of the World of Ruin with your Celis that low level? Because she's like the primary party member for most of the World of Ruin.
She is, but you get access almost immediately to like pretty good armor. And a lot of people use elemental attacks. And so they would just like, I would like take half damage or like or like, but also because you can turn encounters off, I just didn't really do a lot of fighting until I had 3 or 4 people in my party. And you don't really have to,
I guess.
Yeah, that is such a fucking game changer. I've talked about it a couple of times. I'll talk about it a couple of times more. The fact that you can turn off encounters makes it such a customizable, convenient, cool experience. So that if you want to do a ton of fighting, you can, but on your terms. And so if you're in some like dumb, annoying place where it's like, it would be a huge pain in the ass to have to fight 30 times, you just don't.
Yeah. I guess that makes it more accessible to the, a new generation that didn't grow up or play these games 30 years ago.
And I did my time in the trenches, okay? I played these games without the ability to turn encounters off. Although you do get items that let you do that. In 6 as well, which I never bothered to look for. But like I did it. I suffered, okay? I do not feel the need to do it again.
I hear you. You also, by choice, subject yourself to games that inflict punishment upon you in the RPG genre. So, I'll give you a pass on this.
Yeah. I got, your Dragon Quests and your Disgaeas and your Elden's Ring, and they all know how to punish me just fine, thanks.
They do indeed. But now you're out of Final Fantasy Pixel Purgatory.
Yeah.
What's next?
That's a great question. I have save files partway through like 4 other Final Fantasy games. So like I might just roll credits on 7, 8, 9, and 10 this year just to like do a sort of like more or less complete set. Maybe go play through 12 again towards the end of the year. Maybe see how 13 feels after like 14 years later, you know?
I'm sensing an episode of ranking the Final Fantasy games in our
Ooh.
future.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm definitely barreling through enough of them that I could definitely give a pretty good breakdown of which ones are better, which ones are worse.
Cool.
Yeah, I could definitely contribute to that with all 3 of them that I've played.
Well, you got your horses, and you'll just have to ride them.
Yeah, I will say once again that the Pixel remasters, because of the modern touches they've added to them, a lot of them you can play through in like a couple of days. They're pretty breezy.
Yeah. What else have I been doing? Played some more of. Did I talk about Open Roads last week?
I
feel like maybe I couldn't.
Yeah, maybe you couldn't. Maybe you weren't able to, and then now you have that power if you're so inclined.
Well, it sucks.
Okay, cool.
It's a walking simulator, and it's not a good walking simulator.
Sweet.
This is the same team mostly after some internal shakeups that did Gone Home and Tacoma, both of which I like. This one, I don't know if it's just me, because I think I got one of the lower scores on the spectrum of reviews for this game, but I didn't find the writing very impactful whatsoever. It was very boilerplate, not that interesting, not that exciting. For a game that relies purely on conversation between 2 characters the entire time, that's a big problem. It's a big problem for me.
Good. If all you have is story, the story has to whip major ass.
Yeah, I'll go back a bit. It's the story of a mother-daughter duo, and they set off on a road trip. They're moving out of grandma's house, and they have to set off on a road trip to solve a mystery, quote unquote. It's not a mystery. I had the end of the story figured out within, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes of setting out on the road trip. It was exactly what I expected. That's not good. It's pretty short. The voice acting, it's not bad. They do okay with the material that they're given. It's Kerry Russell and Caitlin Dever, who's been in some video games. They just cast her to play Abby in the Last of Us TV show.
Oh, okay.
So, good actors. Material just isn't that good. It's not that interesting. Yeah, I'd skip this one in favor of just about any other walking simulator out there.
Okay.
Something like Firewatch or What Remains of Edith Finch. Much better options and probably cheaper.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah. 0 mechanics to speak of in this game, by the way. You walk around and you click on items in the world. The items themselves, they look nice enough. Somebody did work on the art to make them look good. And you pick something up, and it either you just look at it and there's nothing to do with it, or it triggers a conversation between the same 2 characters every single time. And it's supposed to add flavor, but it just didn't hit for me. Just did not hit. Anyway,
That's really unfortunate.
Open Roads. Bit of a dud. Definitely less than a 7.
Oof.
Okay, good to know.
Owie.
Yeah.
Oh, it hurt. But
Yeah.
it only hurt for about 2 hours and 23 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's
Okay.
short too.
It's not too bad. It's not too bad. If you want an hour and a half to 2 hours of excellence, y'all should check out that Stellar Blades demo.
Okay. I've been
It's
wanting to try it.
Fucking sweet. I never even heard of it until a viewer in the stream a few nights ago was like, "Yo, you got to check this out," and I couldn't put it down. It's really,
awesome.
really fucking good. It's like a mixture of Sekiro and Bayonetta, and it's like really action packed, really cinematic. Combat's like nice and heavy. You know, each swing of your sword, you really like feel the impact when you hit an enemy. It's bloody, gory, very adult oriented, and
Okay.
super fucking satisfying. Yeah, it's again, there's only like 90 minutes or so to play, but I would highly, highly recommend maybe to wash the taste of Open Roads out of your mouth. Go check out Stellar Blades because it's really good.
How's the storytelling?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, yeah, I don't know if it starts you off right at the beginning of the game, but within like the first 20 or 30 minutes of the demo, the story gets you hooked. Yeah. The story had me hooked. Not that I expected to really have any sort of payoff during the demo, but yeah. It almost seemed like a maybe like a Game of Thrones kind of thing where they weren't scared to kill off any and every character.
Interesting.
You know? Yeah. Again, we'll see how that actually plays out in the full game, but I thought it was pretty cool.
It's super stylish.
Very, very stylish. Main character that you play as is so sexy to the point where IGN had to write an article saying that this game isn't as good as it could have been because your character is too good looking.
I saw that come up in the news, and then the developers came back and said, no, this is literally a model of a human being.
Literally a model of a human being, and like I can't think of a single time that I've wanted to play as like a gremlin looking a goblin looking main character. I think she's great, especially like because they were like hyping up Bayonetta and talking about how Bayonetta was so good and how the character was so good. Honestly, like the character reminded me a ton of Bayonetta.
Yeah. Definite
Like,
Bayonetta vibes.
A ton of Bayonetta. Yeah. Like I don't understand how you could enjoy the character model of Bayonetta and not enjoy this one. Eve, her name is. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna have to crack into this. I feel like this game comes out this month, right?
It does. Later this month, yeah, end of the month, and I think you'll enjoy it.
How much Sekiro is it versus how much Bayonetta? Like if
more so Bayonetta.
Okay, so if I'm not a crazy Souls fan,
yeah,
I'm probably still gonna like this.
I think you'll still like it. I say Sekiro because it like it moves at a pace that's similar to Sekiro. You're traversing through the worlds, you know, like you're not a ninja, but you're this like, I don't know, you're like this futuristic like warrior essentially. So you're moving at like a faster pace than like a normal human would be. Mm-hmm. So I think that, yeah, the pacing in that sense is similar to Sekiro. Plus you're definitely benefiting in the combat if you're landing the parries and the dodges. But I think that it plays more so like Bayonetta.
Okay.
How did you find the mechanics, like the timing for like landing perfect dodges and parries and shit? How did you find that?
Relatively forgiving. There are some enemies, obviously, like it's a game where you're gonna run into a new enemy and it's probably gonna kick your ass the first time, but quickly you learn its patterns, you learn what kind of attacks it has, and once you do learn that pattern, the window for actually landing those perfect parries, perfect dodges, it's pretty forgiving.
Okay, dope.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely more accessible than Sekiro is to somebody that might not necessarily be too skilled at that type of game.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Rhett, did you want to talk about MLB?
Yeah, it's fucking great, as always. That San Diego studio, man, they sure do know how to make a sports game. They sure do know how to make a baseball game. To the point where I'm like, I don't know, maybe baseball is all they know. I know that everybody on the team is a big baseball fan, but what I'm getting at is like, dude, I would love to see these guys take a crack at like a hockey game or a football game, golf game, because they sure know how to make simulation sports. You know, that is their wheelhouse, and I think that they're the best sports game developer going right now. Once again, 24. For the past 4 years, I've said it every year, but the game gets better and better, and it becomes a better representation of the actual product. You know, it looks and feels like an actual baseball game, down to like tiny nuances in the way that players move and the way that they field ground balls, field pop flies, the way they swing their bats, you know, the way players walk up, you know, the way they walk up to the plate and step into the box and get ready for a pitch. It all just looks and feels really, really authentic. So yeah, the on-field action, I think it's better than it's ever been, and it was already very, very good. Also, the continuation of the Negro League storylines from last year.
Nice.
I praised that last year as being one of the better additions that they've added to these games in a long time. And they've done season 2 of that just as good as it was in season 1. Super insightful, super educational. The stories are told really well. The guy that they have narrating the thing, who's like the head of the Negro League baseball museum, he's incredible. He's an incredible speaker. And yeah, that's been super fun. And what I really like about these storylines is that the team did a really good job of like making you feel like you're actually playing in that era. If you're playing, you know, a game between the Yankees and the Red Sox from 2024, it feels like you're playing a game from 2024. But if you're playing one of these storylines from 1940, the way that they change how the game looks makes you feel like you're actually playing a game from 70, 80 years ago. It's crazy. You know, the graphics on the screen will be different. Obviously, like uniforms will be different. Commentary will reflect the situations. Stadiums are different. Yeah, they really like do a good job of retelling history and making it feel authentic.
That's fucking excellent.
Yeah, so those are cool. And then they added another like set of storylines this year, or a storyline this year, focused on Derek Jeter. And it takes you through Jeter's entire career from basically start to finish, which is also cool. They get at Jeter himself to narrate the entire thing. And so like between missions or objectives, whatever you want to call them, you'll get like a little cutscene play where Jeter's sitting on the New York subway and he's telling you about this situation and that situation and what he was thinking here and what the team was feeling. And yeah, that stuff is all done very, very well. And I've been having a lot of fun with that. If I had to knock the game though, like there haven't been too many upgrades to the modes. The modes feel pretty similar to last year. So I said in my review that as much as I do think that this feels better on the field than it did last year, I'm not sure if everybody will agree that an upgrade this year is going to be warranted. You know, if somebody was to say, well, you know, I'm just going to stick with 23, maybe I'll check out 25, I would say, you know, I don't blame you because 23 already felt fucking great. So yeah, it's not like a monumental step forward. Not from like I remember 21 felt pretty different than 20, and 23 felt pretty different than 21. I don't know if you're gonna get that sort of feeling if you're like a veteran of the series and you play it every year.
Okay.
But it's good. It's very, very good. There is one important change to the Diamond Dynasty mode that is like the most popular mode in the game, where you're opening packs of cards and you're building your team based off of what you're pulling. So in years prior to this, basically right from the get-go, you could start pulling like 99 overall cards, and you could build a team of like the best players in the game very early on, which was like nice, I suppose, but it really killed incentive in the later months of the game's life cycle, when you'd already collected every player that you wanted, didn't really see the need to go and like complete objectives to get more cards, didn't need to because your team was already competitive. This year, they're staggering the releases of 99 overall cards. So we'll be seeing those in like maybe the last half of this year's life cycle. So what that's doing is it's making cards that are in the 80s and the lower 90s way, way, way more valuable. And as such, you see teams, like you see different rosters, you know? Last year, by the time the 4th or 5th month rolled around, basically everybody was using the same cards. You know, everybody would have the 99 overall cards, the best ones. Everybody would have a 99 Mariano Rivera. Everyone would have a 99 Shohei Ohtani. Everyone would have a fucking 99, David Ortiz. And you'd see those in every fucking game. Randy Johnson, you would see all the fucking time. But now you see a nice variation of rosters in almost every game that you play, you know, because if an 82 gold is going to be an actual, viable card, then there's way, way more 82 golds throughout the game than there are going to be 99 overalls. And so it's been a really nice change of pace to see, all kinds of different teams, all kinds of different players getting used that in previous years didn't get any spotlight whatsoever.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, like in the later months, it's actually going to make me want to come back and play the game and get new cards, which last year by month 6, I was like pretty much done unlocking stuff, and I would just go in and play some games here and there. So I think it was a really, really smart move. Very, very smart move.
Well, 2 things I gotta say. One, this sure looks like simulation baseball because I'm watching the Toronto Blue Jays not be able to hit a pitch to save their bloody lives. And I wonder if that focus on dripping out content over time is part of the infamous Sony live games as a service strategy, if this is like a test bed to just make the show the show.
Yeah.
And it goes on forever.
Well, I mean, like last year, like I was saying, they drip fed content every month. There would be, throughout like the first 9 months of the game's release, essentially they would break down seasons, and it would be like, okay, inning 1 is season 1, inning 2, season 2. And they would release new cards and everything like that. But again, the problem was that they were releasing too many overpowered cards right from the get-go.
Right.
But now, yeah, like it's like as far as like timing on the releases, I think it's going to pretty much be the same sort of system. It's just that they're staggering the cards. So instead of the cards, releasing on a fucking scale that goes like this, now throughout the year, it's going to go like this. And that's like a massive, massive improvement to the game.
Yeah. So you have to keep going back to the well to keep your team up to snuff if you want to compete.
Keep your team up to exactly. You're going to have to. Now, if you want to compete in month 7, you're going to have to go back and play those challenges and do the things that will reward you with the better cards.
I don't hate that.
No, it's smart. It's smart.
Cool. This is one of those games that I always intend to play because I like baseball. I like to watch baseball.
Yeah.
I follow baseball. But that's sports games in general. I've just kind of fallen off of them in recent years. But
Well, the nice thing about this one is that you can go and get it on Xbox Game Pass.
sick.
Yeah, do that. Get it on Game Pass. It is crossplay as well, so I'll play a game or two with you.
Take me out to the ball game. I get some Cracker Jacks and have us a nice time.
100%. 100%.
Sweet. I'm glad they're continuing to follow through. On the show.
Much more so than fucking Madden or NHL or
well,
FIFA?
they've even messed up soccer at this point because it's not FIFA anymore. It's EA football club or whatever.
Club or something. Yeah.
I didn't play it, but apparently the last one was not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know how you messed that up so bad.
Well, they've got practice at it. They're pretty good at taking a franchise and driving a spike through its forehead. You know.
Yeah, pretty crazy that in the mid 2000s, they had NHL, they had FIFA, they had NBA, the NBA Live series, and people regard those still as some of the best sports games ever. And seemingly all in unison, each one of those series slowly but surely got worse and worse to the point where people are just like, yeah, these are nothing but cash grabs now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like any tech business, though. That somebody has to be willing to take the risk and say, we need to rewrite this thing. We need to ground up, recreate this because it's getting out of control. There's too much code. We're just band-aiding over things and it's making things break. We try to add a feature and 50 things break. So it's not feasible to add new features or add new content, and the game inevitably gets worse. So somebody has to be willing to say, this is the year where it's all new NHL this year. Completely rewrote it completely from scratch.
And what they'll need to do to actually accomplish that is to take a page out of the WWE 2K series playbook and take a fucking year off. It's fine.
Yeah.
Take a year off, spend 2 years rebuilding your game from the ground up, and give us something new and fresh.
There was some little cartoon hockey game that just came out. I don't know what it's called, but I've seen a video of it a couple of times, and someone pointed out on Twitter that the stick handling animations of Bugs Bunny holding a hockey stick look better than NHL 24.
That's brutal.
Oh, that's a bummer.
That's brutal.
I don't know, guys. It ain't working.
Sweet.
James, what's in the news this week?
Jesus Christ, is there ever news? Well, I mean, I found like 7 things. I found like 7 cool things. Let's flip over to the old doc here and see what's cooking. Okay, we're gonna do this in we'll do it in order. The first one I found was that like the director of Tekken 8 was like, all right, I want to add a stage. We're gonna add some stages. If I were to add a stage, what stage should I get? And a great cry went up over the internet. And they were like, "Dear God, put in Waffle House. Waffle House has to be a Tekken 8 stage." And he was like, "What the fuck do you mean a Waffle House has to be a Tekken 8 stage?" And people were like explaining it to him and showing him like videos and stuff like that. It's like, oh, no, that's where America's strongest fighters are forged. There's like video of like somebody throwing a chair at one of the employees, and she just sort of like casually grabs it and brushes it aside with one smooth, beautiful motion, like she's done this 130 times. That's the thing. Waffle House doesn't just attract fighters on this side of the counter, but the employees have to get pretty scrappy if they want to survive working at Waffle House.
This sounds like a whole line of DLC.
Dude, I fucking love this idea so much.
Yeah. Like, they might not be able to get the actual Waffle House name, but there'll be like the pancake restaurant or
Yeah.
whatever that you can go to and then just beat the dog shit out of each other.
Can you imagine an official partnership? Waffle House steps in, licenses the. Oh God, come on!
Just have like,
Yeah.
Take my money now.
I'm envisioning downloadable characters, and the first one that came to mind is Jeremiah. He's a scrawny little scraggly white kid, like no meat on his bones. He's the assistant manager, graveyard shift, and he's one of the fighters in the Waffle House pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he will lay you the fuck out if he so needs.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. For sure.
He's a grappler.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Waffle House and Tekken 8, make it happen, internet.
Yeah, it's an incredible thread that I highly recommend checking out because you get so many people submitting stories of like, here's a video of two people beating the shit out of each other at a Waffle House. Here's like, a story of an amazing employee laying some people out. It's just like fight after fight after fight, and it's kind of incredible to sift through.
Darkeisha, 375 pounds, works the till, doesn't take no shit from no one.
Yeah.
Powerhouse.
Will break a chair over your head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah, the possibilities are there. The incredible
Endless. Writes itself.
You can do some amazing shit there.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I found some Waffle House fight vids to go with this segment.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Probably the end of that story.
Yeah. There was like, I saw something else in Destructoid about how The Witcher 4 is being developed at CD Projekt Red. And it was just like, just a short little thing saying like, yep, they're having it. It's happening. They're doing it. They're going through it. Because CD Projekt Red had a 2023 earnings call, like in the last day or two, and so apparently over 400 developers are now working on the project, which is great news. For people concerned that they're never going to get this game. And I assume because they have 3 previous Witchers to work with, that it will not be a complete fuckfest like Cyberpunk was, because that was them doing a project like they'd never done before. Whereas this is more like, you know what I mean? They have a template for this. They know what the fuck they're doing.
Yes, but never count them out, because they are not using their internal engine for The Witcher 4. They're not using the Red engine, which powers everything they've ever made, as far as I'm aware. They're switching to Unreal.
I was just going to say 5, yeah.
So do they know how to code in Unreal? We will see.
Well, the good news is that like, it seems pretty learnable to do. Like, it's like, I've seen a lot of games where it's like, clearly you have not done a ton of game development in your life, but you managed to make something pretty presentable in Unreal.
Yeah. When they first showed off Unreal 5 as well, that was kind of one of the things that they were hyping about it, was how accessible it was going to be.
Yeah, I assume it helps to have, a rich history of game design under your belt. And it's possible that like it'll come out looking amazing or ass.
Well, I'm
We're
sure
going to find out.
I'm very confident it will look amazing. Question is, how will it run?
Yeah.
Because Unreal 5, well handled, is photorealism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As close as we've seen to that.
Yeah.
Did anybody? I know there were some previews of Hellblade 2 coming out this week. Anybody see anything about that? Because that's an Unreal Engine 5 game.
All I know is that it was confirmed to be running at 30 FPS on the Series X.
Hmm.
Ouch.
Seems bad. I don't know.
Yeah, seems bad, man. Yeah.
But you know what? You know what? You know what? Now that we're talking about frames per second, I feel like the next item we should discuss on the list is a fun little article that that posits that some people are capable of seeing the world at a higher frame rate than others. I feel like this is relevant because I'm not always in on it when we're having discussions about like, oh, it's got to be 60 or fuck off. I'm like, okay, I believe you, but I'm not as invested. And I wonder if this is because I'm an old man or if I literally do not see reliably higher frame rates. Now this is like,
Well, here's
it's one study in one journal. So like, who knows how reliable this is? But
we're now playing a video that shows the difference between 60 frames per second and 30 frames per second and 24 frames per second. And I guarantee you can tell the difference.
yeah, okay.
Maybe not between
Yeah,
24 and 30, but
when it's like I definitely I believe everybody, you know, I've definitely played, you know, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, for example. I would switch between performance mode and graphical mode, and I could see it, right? I see the that one is definitely noticeably smoother than the other. I think the big thing for me is that I don't really care if it's 30 or 60.
that's fair.
You know what I mean? As
Yeah.
long as it's like, if it's locked in at that frame rate, right? Like if it's just like, if it's stuttering and staggering between 30 and 60 and 7 more stops along the way, that sucks. That sucks. You can pick that out immediately. That's no good. That's a bad time. But if it's like solid 60 versus solid 30, I'm fine with both because I find myself adjusting very quickly to it's just like, well, this is just what the game looks like, and I kind of move on with my day, right? But like, I find an unstable frame rate much more egregious than a lower one.
I would agree with you. So long as the frames are an equal distance apart from one another, that's what's most noticeable and most disruptive to actually playing the game, especially if there's timing involved. I know you're a
Yeah.
60 frames kind of guy, Rhett.
Mm.
60 frames are nothing.
Always. I don't know how y'all play games at 30. It's awful. Awful, awful experience.
Well.
I mean, I'd definitely rather have 60.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like, if that's available and easily achievable and a thing I can do, great. But like, I think a small enough slice of my total gaming history has been spent gaming at 60 frames that I'm not. To me, it's like flying first class. It's great if you can get it, and it's cheaper than actual first class for sure. But I can raw coach, you know, and
It's fine.
I
It'll still
recognize
get you where you're going.
exactly.
Yeah.
It is interesting though that the whole 30 frames being the standard thing is relatively recent in terms of console generations, because all of those early machines are all 60 hertz, or
Yeah.
50 if you're in Europe.
Yeah.
It's mostly with like the PS3, Xbox 360 generation that 30 became the norm.
Oh, yeah, because it was just such a struggle in terms of processing power and graphical power to like make that happen reliably.
Yeah. And
Um,
since then hit the PS4 generation, some things were 60 to start out with, but as people got more ambitious, it inevitably went to 30. Same things happening this generation. Seeing almost everything be 30 these days. And that's why I will buy a PS5 Pro.
Oh yeah.
No question. I don't
Yeah.
care how much it costs. Well,
Yeah.
maybe I care a little bit.
I feel like unless something drastically changes, if the three of us are watching the stream where they announce the fucking pre-orders for the PS5 Pro, then yes, there's a chance that 60% of us will get one of those consoles. But otherwise, no, of course not. Do you think they've made some sort of drastic systemic change to the way orders are handled that will outsmart the fucking universe of scavengers and scammers and bots that like now constitute the online shopping experience? Like, no.
James, why you got to ruin this for me?
I don't think it'll nearly be an issue, as much of an issue to get one.
Like stock will be a lot better. It sounds like it's not really that different process wise. So they should be able to pump these things out pretty easy.
Well, yeah, and we're not dealing with that chip issue that they were dealing with at the start of COVID, when which made the production of these things way more difficult.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't see it being an issue, and I don't think that the majority of people are like us, in that we might feel like we need to upgrade. You know, like I don't think the majority of gamers. We've talked about this before, where we're kind of that niche market where we play everything throughout the year. We play everything. Whereas I think a lot of people that own these systems, they've got 1, 2, maybe 3 games that they stick to, and they play those throughout the year.
Which is why, of course, companies chase games as a service. They want to be one of those 2 or 3 games that people play all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, that actually ties nicely into yet another news article. There was a survey of some sort. Let's see, where is it? Video game market analyst Newzoo released a report which revealed 66 titles accounted for 80% of overall playtime in 2023. Of that number, 60% of playtime is spent with games released 6 years ago or more. So that means like live games as a service. So a lot of like Fortnite is crushing it across all platforms. Roblox, Grand Theft Auto 5, Minecraft, Mario Kart 8, that sneaky fucker, which has been around in some capacity since 2014. The Sims 4.
Mm-hmm. It still blows me away how often I go to stream Rainbow Six Siege and I see that there's over 100,000 people watching it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems that new games are competing for eyeball time with these like established juggernauts that have just been pumping out content updates for a decade or more. And like, I understand why publishers and developers are losing their fucking minds at the AAA level and making all these insane decisions, because they're like, well, if we don't have the next Minecraft, we're burning this place to the ground. Like, yeah.
Or you can spend a lot less money, make a game like Helldivers that people want to play, and do really well that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else you got
Yeah,
there, Jimbo?
let's see. First of all, no one has called me that in about 15 years, so kudos to you. Um, actually, you know what? No, 25. It's been about 25 years since anybody's called me Jimbo. Neat trick.
Let's make it a thing.
There was that drop, the news drop from Marvel being like, we're making a new Marvel game. And people were like, yeah. And they're like, NetEase is making a new Marvel game. And they're like,
No.
oh, okay. It's an Overwatch style hero shooter, baby.
Yikes.
Who was asking for this?
Well, based on the last thing we talked about, millions and millions of people. Millions and millions of people are asking for this.
Are they though? Because they're already playing Overwatch.
Well, some of them are. Not.
Or they're all playing Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
Oh yeah, baby. That new Joker release?
I heard it's trash.
Ooh. Of course it's fucking trash.
The whole rest of the game is dog shit. Why would the DLC
oh no,
suddenly
suddenly Joker comes out and the whole game is just, oh man, it's a must play. He only looks somewhat like the Jared Leto Joker.
Yeah, character designers the world over should have seen how we reacted to Jared Leto's Joker and agreed to never make a character like that again.
Oh my god.
Or at least not to make an existing character into a character like that. But
yeah.
You know, like if you want a psychotic tattooed asshole in your story, that's fine. But don't make him the Joker or like Frankenstein or like, you know, some other beloved IP. Don't do that. That's dumb. That's super dumb.
Yeah, nobody's watching the Joker because they want to see somebody who's damaged. They just want to see him fuck some people up and ruin Batman's day.
Yeah.
Rhett, how do you feel about the Joaquin Phoenix Joker?
So good.
Yeah.
So good. But I think because like we haven't really ever seen, like there's been bits and pieces here and there that have tried to explore Joker's backstory. Like obviously he was somebody before he was the Joker. He wasn't born with a white face and green hair.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the best telling of his backstory.
It's pretty disturbing.
Very disturbing. Very, very disturbing.
Man, I was so
I know you didn't
so
like that
bored.
movie. Yeah, I know you didn't like
so
that
bored
movie.
watching that.
But like
movie.
as a guy who like I went to school for acting, as a film buff, you know, I thought that they did a lot of really interesting things with the film. A lot of
like it's fascinating because a lot of the bits and pieces, a lot of the disparate components are quite good. But somehow for me, you put them together and I was just like, okay, I guess we're doing this. I don't know. Somehow it was like, I don't know what happened for me, but like, because Joaquin Phoenix is great. Dude's a fucking rock star performer. You know, like he's really good at like at committing to the bit, so to speak, and he does great work. And you know, the costume design was great, and the fucking the sets were good, and a lot of the performances were good, but all the other bits were pretty I don't know, man. I just didn't it didn't really hang together like I wanted it to.
I looked at it as it was the best retelling of Taxi Driver that I've ever seen. A lot of people have attempted to remake that movie, and I think that this is the best version of Taxi Driver that isn't Taxi Driver.
I mean, it's definitely the most 70s retelling of Taxi Driver that's ever existed.
I mean, well, if you don't see the similarities between those two movies,
Jesus, of course I see the similarities between the two movies. Yeah. Oh my God, yes, absolutely. It feels like the director really wanted to just make Taxi Driver again. And
Yeah.
they're like, no, fuck off. You have to make Joker. And he's like, I guess.
It's like, I get, okay, yeah, no, I'll make Joker, wink, you know. That's what it felt like, you know. But
Yeah.
but it was like obviously more like artsy fartsy than Taxi Driver is. But I liked it. I like the artsy fartsy implementations, you know. Like,
To be
dude,
fair,
I couldn't get enough of the scene after he shot the fucking kids and he ran to the bathroom and he was dancing. I couldn't get enough of that shit. I loved it.
I was gonna say, to be fair, Taxi Driver is a little bit, has some artsy fartsy elements. Specifically, just like the bookending with the big long speeches and the waxing poetic and the like.
Sure.
Yeah, there's
Sure.
like, it's not.
I guess
it's
like
not
I guess
devoid of those elements.
I guess that scene specifically that I'm talking about, where he's dancing in the bathroom, like Taxi Driver didn't have anything like that. And watching that, it's like, dude, I'm watching like I'm almost watching like a play, you know, a stage play, on film, and yeah, man, it's fucking. It was pretty fucking unique, especially with the humdrum superhero the superhero film, like, what's the word I'm looking for, you know, sort of just like the stock,
Yeah, the formula.
exactly the stock formula that superhero films, the way that they're made, have become. I thought that it stood out pretty well amongst all those, even though I mean, obviously I wouldn't call it a superhero film, but
Yeah.
you kind of have to usher it into that category given the source formula,
I think,
Sure.
or the source material, I should say.
I think what kept me engaged and interested in that movie was I didn't expect to feel empathy for the character along the way, you know, because it's slow moving and it's like, you're right, it's artsy fartsy. I didn't expect to have that moment where I was like, oh, I feel conflicted because I do feel empathy for this guy.
well, that's how they fucking got you. But
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is,
But
like,
that,
I didn't think
it worked.
I didn't think that you were necessarily supposed to feel empathy for him. You know, I think that, and obviously this is all so subjective and whatever
Yeah,
you
totally.
take from a film, but like,
I
I don't
obviously by the end he's, you know, a raving lunatic and you're like, okay, you've kind of gone off the deep end, but along the way there are moments where you go, this guy's got it tough.
Yeah, but so do so many others.
It's true.
You know,
Batman had it tough.
Batman had it tough. You know,
Superman, not really. He's kind of bulletproof and all that jazz. He doesn't really have it that hard.
being lost in the system and becoming a statistic doesn't necessarily make me empathize, because that happens to a lot of people every day, and not all of them go on TV and shoot talk show hosts in the face.
Yeah, that's true. That's
You
why I
know,
say there were
like-
moments of feeling some empathy for the guy.
Yeah,
Obviously, it goes
but
places.
like, with that being said, I still very much enjoyed it. Still very, very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to re-examining the film at some point. Just you know, to try to like see what the like ensuing 5 years have like done to my, you know, my understanding of the story, or like my interpretation of the events.
Yeah, maybe once the second one comes out.
See, that one, I'm extremely curious about that one, because
That one sounds like even more so than the first one. Like, there's a lot of people that are hypothesizing that it might actually end up being a musical.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, which I'm perfectly okay with.
Yeah, into that.
I love a good musical, you know?
Yeah. No. Like, I think that no other format might capture the psyche of the Joker better than that. Especially, and again, going back to the scene where he's dancing in the bathroom, I think that he kind of is living in his mind all throughout that movie. He was living on the stage, you know? So now it's time to fucking bring the stage out of his head and show that he's just living in it always.
Yep, sure. Yep.
And I mean, you got Lady Gaga, so she can sing.
She sure can.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
All right, James, anything else?
Well, I did find something on IGN that was like all of the year's best April Fool's pranks, because we did just bypass that particular holiday, which is only fun for, it seems, for video game publishers and developers to come up with like dumb, wacky shit to like, here's a fun little joke.
I like that
Like-
stuff. What I don't like is when those jokes go to the place where it feels like we understand what it is you're looking for us to make, and we're going to tell you that we're making it, but we sure aren't.
Oh, okay, like that sucks. But when I saw the video for Virtual Boy Pro for Nintendo Switch, I was like, first of all, no, you aren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I am old enough to remember what that thing did to human eyes, and it wasn't great.
It's
although
true.
it's a fun idea. It's just like an AR, augmented reality, which when you watch the person put the thing on, you're like, oh, that's just the Switch inside of a harness. There's no cameras or anything. That's obviously impossible. That's a fun little trick.
Yeah.
And then they had.
Yeah. Go on.
You were gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say. And what were the standouts of the April Fool's jokes?
Well, the Virtual Boy one is fun. There's a big intense ad for a Pokemon sleep tournament.
Oh, God.
So you just see these like, it's shot so dynamically, and it's like you see these like beds and shit like that set up in these big arenas, and you're like, yeah, okay. First of all, I would watch this once.
Yeah.
But like, not an actual tournament, just a longer video like this, because don't make people do this. This is ridiculous. But like, yeah, I would watch a longer video of this for sure. Have some people just very gently whispering and talking like commentary into like almost ASMR mics, where they're like, okay, and now number 7 is looking very relaxed, and oh, I see a twitch. That's gonna affect the final score. And you're just like, that would be amazing, but for like 10 minutes, maybe like a 15-minute video at the most. But like, you couldn't sit through an actual tournament of this. That would be horrendous.
Unless you wanted to put it on and then actually sleep, prove to yourself I'm a better sleeper than these Pokemon sleepers.
Sure, you could do that. Oh my God, there was also an Elden Ring April Fool's one, which I don't really get. I don't really get what's happening. I don't understand. I think it is literally, it literally looks like it's just a 15-second video, and it's just like it's expanding. Just the title is expanding until it gets outside of the screen, and you're like, okay, that's okay. I don't know what's happening here. All right. Yep.
That seems like a low effort.
It does. It does seem like a low effort. Not exactly full marks. However, next up on the list, we have Cyberpunk 2077 getting a limited time floppy edition that comes with 97,000 3.5-inch diskettes. That would be amazing. You could sell, I don't know, one of those. It'd be so expensive to produce. It would cost $1,000 fucking dollars.
Oh, yeah. And it would take up a lot of space. I think people would like drastically underestimate how much space 97,000 floppy disks would take up physically.
For example, in the picture they posted with the tweet, you can see what looks to be about 150.
And that's way too many.
That's so many floppy disks.
It's true.
You
It's true.
you couldn't even you could maybe do this with like 15 to 20 zip disks if that was still a thing that literally anybody used.
I mean, I do like the aesthetic of the yellow floppy disk. It looks nice.
They do look great. I would buy just one of those, not with a game on it, but just like maybe it has like it's like a thumb drive in disguise. You like slide the thing aside, the top metal bit, and then just got a little thumb drive piece in there. That'd be awesome.
Sure.
There's also a dumb little ad from Sega, where it's instead of DLC, it's CLC, cartridge loadable content, and so it's a stack of 4 discs plugged into four cartridges plugged into other cartridges, and it says releasing with Big Head mode and Sonic the Hedge cartridges to enhance your Sonic the Hedgehog experience. Which, you know what? That's great. I love that. I love that. Sega, you guys are corny as shit. That's fun. I'm into that. Cool stuff.
Big Head Sonic looks great. I'd probably enjoy Sonic more in that mode.
Yeah. Coming April 1st, 1991 to your local Blockbuster.
I really miss the days of all games coming with a big head code or a big head mode cheat code.
Yeah. Oof.
Really, really miss those days.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we've got. Duckside, which is like a Rust-like game where you play as a duck. It is real. Sorry, that is real. This one is real. It is a Rust-like where you play as a duck. They announced it in April Fools. It has a Steam page.
Untitled Goose Game was great. I think waterfowl games is an underserved market.
Yeah, this I'm watching the trailer now. It's there's a duck with a gun, you know, and they're sort of flying around as a duck would, chopping down trees and stuff somehow. Yeah, this is a real game. They're making this game. Sure, hell yes, bring it on, baby. An April Fool's project that turns out to be a real project. That's 10 out of 10 for me every time. Generally speaking.
Scrolling a little ways further down the list, I've noted the Pal World dating sim. Is this real?
What is this? Where you romance the pals?
It refers to pals taking off their clothes.
Okay, dating sim, you're able to fall in love with adorable pals, a student named Zoe, and even the Black Marketeer. And no, this isn't creepy at all. We're gonna go to the replies, and we're gonna let's see. Oh yeah, the announcement dropped on March 31st, and they were like, okay,
Pal World, more than just pals.
Yeah.
It really seems like a joke, but then what if not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when I was playing that game, I'm like, this is great, but what if I could be lovers with these?
Yeah. What if you wanted to do a little? There is a trailer that looks like a cheap little visual novel, so they could just make this fucking game. It would be easy McBreezy. They could just make this game.
Wonderful.
Keep an eye on that shit. All right. there's a there's an Among Us update that gives the little dudes super long necks from April 1st to April 8th. A whole week of these extremely long necks.
Great.
Nice.
Long mode.
That's what I've been
Yeah.
waiting for, actually, to jump back into that one.
There's the Power Wash Simulator did an April Fool's one where instead of shooting water, you're shooting dirt.
Oh, okay, yep, dirt, of course.
Even
what
if
were you
this
gonna
was
say
real,
there?
it would
What's
never.
that?
What? I would never play this. Horrible.
More about Rhett's
horrible.
idea. Currently looking for investors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I was playing Power Wash Simulator, I was like, this is great, but what if I could be lovers with my power washer?
Well, it seems like a great way to on the go circumcise yourself, if that hasn't been done already with that power washing wand.
Ah, yes.
You know,
The adult Circ. Very nice.
Hmm.
Did you know that you could get reverse circed?
How does that work?
Yeah. People can graft skin from like your thigh and reverse a circ. I've discovered this recently. Yep.
are you looking to get the surgery, bud? Is that
No, I'm not looking to get the surgery. This is just something that I've discovered recently. I want to reiterate, I am not looking to get the surgery.
I got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Like
I thought
how?
that was fascinating though.
Yeah. It's
Modern
a bit of a
science,
risky
man.
Google.
Oh yeah. You might want to VPN that one. Yeah.
Black market reversal surgeries.
Yeah, see, Jess says in the can confirm Rhett got told this. Yeah, because that's where somebody mentioned it in a stream one night. They were talking about a reverse circ.
All right. You can do anything.
Can we title this podcast Reverse Circ?
Maybe.
I'll take the silence as a yes.
Take that silence as silence. Good Lord.
Let me just quickly type that into the doc.
Yeah, there you go. That's CIRC.
RC.
Yeah,
Yeah,
perfect.
got it.
Okay, excellent.
Okay.
What else? We got like one more here.
Oh yeah. There's so many April Fool's projects. Anyways, it's I don't know. This Nakra blade point is added to get deadly new weapon. They are hands. Okay, dumb, fine. Capcom is getting into the helicopter business. Sure. Okay, why not?
I should have mentioned that during the Elden Ring piece that you were mentioning, I used my, COG connected insider status to convince one viewer during a stream that the Elden Ring DLC had actually been canceled, and he was quite concerned. he was not happy with that.
That's the proper use of clout.
That was pretty fun.
To
Oh, no,
ruin
canceled.
people's days. Yes.
Yeah.
Do
They decide that. Yeah.
I was gonna say, does that have a date yet?
June, I
June.
believe. Yeah.
I think I'm supposed to be playing the last Destiny expansion in June, so probably not gonna.
Wow,
be
you're gonna be on that as well, huh? Does that have a title?
The Final Shape.
Right.
I think I'm the only person on staff that has ever played Destiny, so I think it's
No,
me
that's
by
not true.
default.
Man, Destiny 2, I spent a solid 18 months playing it.
Okay. Well, if we get if we get more than one code, and hopefully we do, I'll sling one your way.
Yeah, sure. I haven't played it in a long time, but yeah.
You just shoot the things mostly.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of magic powers.
When I started to realize that I probably shouldn't have been playing that game was when I started to spend too much money on emotes.
Oh, yeah, it's a
Those
dark.
fucking dude. There's a real dark hole, man. The all those neon emotes.
Because they're all
yeah,
good.
I couldn't do it.
Like they're real good.
They're very, very good. That top ramen one.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had to get out of there and save my bank account while I still could.
Proud of you.
Appreciate it. But now I'm spending that money on Rainbow Six Siege skins, and it's not good, man. It's not good.
Yeah, that's also a problem, to be honest.
Are the skins any good in that game?
Some of them are sweet. Some of them are fucking sweet. Like there's this one operator named Lion who has this wicked Resident Evil 4 Leon S. Kennedy skin. Definitely dropped $20 on that.
Well worth it.
For all my wrestling fans out there, there's an operator named Blackbeard who got this sick Undertaker skin. Had to drop 20 on that. There's like a Master Chief skin. There's skins from Dead by Daylight, and then like just the like unique to Rainbow skins. There's some really nice ones.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
They do. They really do.
Okay. All right.
Well, I feel like that's about a wrap on this episode.
100%.
Which may or may not be called Reverse Circ. I don't know. Yet.
Yeah. So, fellas, if you want to go get that Reverse Circ, apparently it's pretty affordable. Apparently.
I'll keep it on the back burner just in case.
Yeah. Yeah, recovery time's decent. And
that's great news.
I'm not going to ask any questions about.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you.
Ooh.
Love you.
Oh, is that bubble tea?
It is bubble tea.
Hell yeah, dog!
Wow. Yeah. You know what they say is great for the Reverse Circ, the healing process, is bubble tea. That's impressive. That's a really interesting coincidence.
Yeah.
Tapioca pearls. Believe it or not.
Yes. That grass jelly.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for us.
Okay.
Before this
Please
degenerates even further, or we take this bit.
Yeah.
It will. It'll
further.
get worse. It'll get worse.
It will. Probably after we stop streaming, it'll still continue to get worse for a bit. But anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you. Always good to have the folks along for the ride for this journey that we call Press X the podcast. So thank you again. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Press X the podcast.